Hi, good afternoon. This is Lunch with Laura. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you guys are enjoying your lunch and having something great to eat. Today we're talking about why I do what I do. I often have people ask me, why aren't you practicing law anymore? Why aren't you, isn't that prestigious? And didn't you make a whole lot of money? And why did you decide to turn away from that? And the answer is pretty simple. I wasn't happy. I was sick and tired of fighting over documents and people trying to figure out how they can be more mean to one another sometimes, and and a lot of times that was on behalf of the attorney, the other side, the other attorney was trying to figure out how they were going to be more mean and evil to me and my client. And so that got real old, and I was starting to see that that was really wearing and having an effect and putting a wear and tear on other people who love to be engaged in that type of thing, and when you fight for a living, it really starts to weigh you down, and I believe that it starts to affect your health, your physical health, and also your mental health, but your physical health negatively. And I was really starting to see that, and again, I wasn't happy. And let me just be very transparent, very honest with you. I, uh, I originally became, well, let me just say, I started the company because I saw a need, and it was a hole in my heart. When you get to mediation in a divorce, it's usually towards the end of the case. You've already spent most of the money you're going to spend. You have to do discovery, which means you're passing documents back and forth. You're digging up stuff. You're digging up financial information. You're digging up information on your retirement accounts. You're pretty much at the end of the case. And by then, you're worn out. You're angry. A lot of times you're just at the end of yourself. And so I said, there is a better way. Yeah, mediation is great, but you're already embroiled. You already filed a lawsuit. You're already embroiled in the case. There has to be a better way to really offer to a wide group of people, women, and make it affordable for, especially for women. I mean, I've had male clients too, and they're great. But how to make it affordable for women to be able to after divorce, if they're having ongoing issues with their ex, have a way that they can solve their problems outside of court, or at least come to an agreement outside of court that is faster, that is so much less expensive than trying to figure out how to come up with thousands of dollars to pay for a retainer, and how to make it less heartache for them so that they really are able to move on. They're not meditating while they're at work trying to figure out how visitation is going to go this weekend, right? And how they're going to make ends meet, and how their kids are going to react to their dad being gone for 3 weeks and all of a sudden popping up, if that's the case, um, and just how what the rest of their life is going to look like. And it got to the point where my career was never satisfying for me. It just never was. And the reasons for that were several. I didn't really feel like I was fully walking in my calling. I am a child of divorce. I am divorced too. I was married for 19 years, and I think probably as a child I had such an attachment to my dad, and so when my parents got divorced, it was hard on me, because when I was born, this great love affair between my dad and I started. And, he was far from perfect. He did a lot of things, I'm sure, that injured us emotionally. But one of the things that I would praise him as a parent is that, the time that he did spend with us, he always made sure that he told us that we were loved, and he was very affectionate. He would always hug us. And so I thought, if there are ways where we can make it easier for the husband and the wife, or the former exes, to put down their weapons, if they see that these beautiful children are here and need them both, if there is a way to help them to come together so that way they can resolve their differences without so much um, aftermath to that. And so that's why I do what I do. I didn't make a whole lot of money. I was not successful like a lot of my colleagues. Most of the time when I was married, I was really fighting off severe depression and fighting off just being miserable and not figuring out why a lot of things that I tried, the door was really just slammed in my face. And then back in 2007, I had something happen that was so devastating both to my career and to me personally, um, that I really had a good friend of mine who would really just talk to me every day. She would just talk to me. She didn't have the answers to everything. She didn't, she is not she's not a Mensa member. She's not, charting off of the, IQ test at 150 and above. She just loved me, and she just was just my friend, and sometimes just talk to me about silly stuff that didn't matter, like Seinfeld stuff that didn't matter. But a lot of times she just made me smile, um, really affirmed me, validated me who I was, because she knew me so well. I've known her since I was 4 years old. We started kindergarten together. And she really helped me walk through a very, very, very difficult period. And um, I would say that my career was anything but robust. Hi, Nikita. It's so good to see you. My career was anything but robust, meaning that I didn't have a whole, group of clients. My name wasn't out there. I wasn't the most popular, attorney in my area. And as a matter of fact, the things that happened to me back in 2007, and a lot of it was something that I didn't handle well. And I take full responsibility for that. A lot of the other things that have been put out there about me are not true. Um, but I did make mistakes. And so I own up to that. And some of the things I didn't handle very well. So I've made a lot of enemies in the legal field. And a lot of times you'll have that anyway because, again, you fight for a living. So it's going to be after a while, you're going to start to really with one another. But again, that was something that um, I could have handled and walked through better. And, as Maya Angelou used to say, when you know better, you do better. And that's where I am today. I know better, so I'm doing better. And there are a lot of people who want to take up a third-party offense, meaning, they weren't the ones who were directly involved in what happened with me. But, the person who was involved went and told everybody who would listen and, got other people to be like, oh, I don't like her. I'm going to, you don't like her. That's what happened. I'm going to hate her too. And that's kind of where I am. And that's fine. There's a lot of people who, even though I've asked for forgiveness and apologized, they didn't accept it. And, that's what it is. God has shown me that you may not get the, acceptance of your apologies, or sometimes, if somebody did you wrong, you may not get an apology for them, but God has really shown me how to bless them anyway. Live with the fact that, either they don't accept my apology or I didn't get one when I felt like I deserved one. And I was just able to move on and accept that and be okay with that and not meditate about it, not think about it in my head, rehearse it, calling up my friends saying, oh my goodness, can you believe they didn't apologize to me? They didn't say they were sorry and they did this, or can you believe they didn't accept my apology, and blah, 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 blah. And so that's part of the growth experience that I want to try to share with other people. I think that will be so helpful. One of the group discussion that they have at my Facebook group today is how to get beyond, or how to get past betrayal and distrust, when you've been betrayed in your relationship, in your marriage. And so I also had a class last night, and I felt so alive. It was a class about help heal your kids from rejection by their dad. But I had a friend of mine, Robin, who is a licensed counselor, and we did the class. It was an hour long, and we had 45 minutes of this kind of instruction and talking about different topics within that. And then we had 15 minutes of Q&A. And I felt so alive because for so many years I just felt like a fraud. I felt like I'm not this big successful attorney. Do I really have enough to pour out? Do I really have enough to share? God, if you put these women in my path, am I going to do well by them? Are they going to feel like they got value from what I had to share from them? Or would they just be like, oh my gosh, this chick's putting herself out here and that wasn't any help? Did God deposit enough in me so that I'm able to pour out to other women? And God just confirmed last night that He did. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. How do I communicate that better to more women? And, the platform that He's had me learn over the past year and a half about technology and about Facebook. I didn't know anything about Facebook, about advertising on Facebook, about doing these Facebook Live videos are new. And, how do you work through all of that? How do you work through, editing a web page and plugins which make web pages do certain things? I never heard of a plugin before. I'd never heard of WordPress before. I've heard of GoDaddy, but I'd never heard of WordPress, and that's one of the major website builders that people use to build their website. And I'm like, I didn't know any of that. And sometimes God just stretched me so far I didn't think I could take it. But I didn't realize that as He was stretching me, He was making me taller in the spirit. And so that's, if you guys remember anything about this video today, when you feel like God is stretching you beyond something you can handle, you feel like, you're walking and you don't have any ground underneath your feet, the best thing that I can tell you is God is stretching you in a way that you are taller in the spirit. The word says, as Jesus was growing up, He grew in stature with man, and He grew in favor with man and with God. And through this process, I'm always talking a lot about not giving up, not giving up, not giving up. Ladies, a lot of times I'm talking to me as much as I am sharing that with you. And so I hope that you feel that, and I hope that you receive it in the way that I send it out to you. I hope that that's very tangible and very palatable. And so, in short, Nikita, let me just kind of give you the sum. What is it that I do? Okay, I am a life coach. Hey, Connie. So Nikita, I am a life coach. I transitioned a year ago from practicing law to being a life coach. And life people, what is that? There are several different niches of life coaching. The general part of it is, life coaches, help you in certain areas. In other words, life coaches differ. Let me explain it this way. Life coaches differ from mental health counselors in this way. When you go to counseling therapy, you are usually dealing with things that happened in your past, and you are trying to get to a place where you are healthy enough to be able to deal with and operate on a daily basis and heal from those things that happened in the past. Life coaches, on the other hand, help people move forward. Life coaches are forward moving, in that they help people who are healthy enough emotionally to be able to move past and then put into action the things that they want to see and do in the future. And that's a general explanation of what life coaches do. My particular niche, my little corner of that is I help divorced women, or I help newly separated women move on after divorce, or move on through their divorce, so that they can achieve and reach the dreams and the things that are on their heart, and also move past a lot of the betrayal, a lot of the financial betrayal, putting their finances back together. What does that look like? When everything is said and done, what does that look like? What is my life going to look like? And how am I going to start to put things back together? And how can I recover financially and emotionally? And how do I get to my new normal now that I'm sharing custody with my ex? What does that look like? How do I get used to that? That's essentially what I do. And also, too, for people who are having ongoing issues after divorce, sometimes issues come up. Your ex gets remarried and you have issues about visitation. Sometimes your ex has to move for his job and visitation has to change. What does that look like? Sometimes your ex, from the divorce, a lot of times they're so messed up they lose their job. And then now you're left with, oh my gosh, he doesn't have the income that he used to have. What does this look like? And so those ongoing issues, I said to myself, there is a better way. then going back into, immediately the first thing is going back into court and, having all of those negative emotions stirred up again, all of the fighting, all of the angst, you having to pick up your weapon again and start shooting. Especially when you've just gone through a divorce and you're trying to recover financially as it is. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have money to wipe my behind as it is, and now I got to try to figure out how to hire somebody again to help me do X, Y, and Z. So that's what I do. I find out-of-court solutions for people who have ongoing issues with their ex. I help people put their financial lives back together. That's really what I do. And I have, several different packages in order to do that. But one important thing that I also learned last night as I started this Divorce Divas Academy, this online school, it was almost like having a therapy session. We can just kind of look in and kind of attend anonymously. And for people who may have really feel that there's a stigma still that's attached to counseling, or the people who really feel like they maybe, I don't think I would benefit from it. You get an inside look at it. And at the same time, you're getting helpful information that you can put into action right now to help you. And it's being offered to a wide group of people. And from that, I said, God, this is just perfect. Lord, help me to perfect it. Help me to find a way that it is just a well-oiled machine that operates very smoothly, that I'm able to do it well. And so that's what I hope to do with these online classes. And also, too, when you sign up for my online class, when you actually sign in for the class and we have it live, you're only signing in using your initials. So, because we value your privacy, we value your anonymity, and it's not for you to kind of put yourself out there and parade yourself on this video. No, it's really for you to just kind of be able to sit there and ask you questions that are specific to your circumstance and able to get the answers that you need without really having to put yourself out there to say, hey, we're waving a red flag, this is me. So that's the way that we can have people come and participate and still feel like their identity and who they are is as protected as possible. And so, that is what we kind of seek to do. Our next class I am actually finishing up developing, but it's going to be in January. January is, every divorce attorney knows, January is divorce month. It is the highest rate of divorce, the highest filing of divorce throughout the whole year is January, is when most people file. They file obviously throughout the year, but January is the big month. And so my next class is going to be, so you're filing for divorce on your own, what you need to know. And so that's probably going to be an hour-and-a-half class because it's a lot to know, and there's going to be a 10-minute break in between within that hour-and-a-half period. But it is very much needed. I always have people ask me, Laura, I can't afford an attorney, but I can't stand the way things are. I can't continue one more day in this situation. Can you just help me to figure out where to start? And so again, the best way for me to do that, to help the widest group of people, I can reach the largest group of people and have it be affordable, is to have these online classes. And also when I'm done taping it, also have it just, as a tape class that you can view. If you're still uncomfortable attending it live, you can still order the tape version and watch that and get a lot out of it. So Nikita, that really is what I do. The long version, right? But I did want to come on and just really kind of share my heart today. Not have it be so technical like I always do, like, about dating and about divorce and all that stuff. I really just wanted to kind of speak from my heart and explain why I do what I do, because I have so many people who ask me. So ladies, I thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your lunchtime with me. I know I value your time. I know it's precious. And thank you for sharing it with me. This is Lunch with Laura, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.